What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome to today's video. We're going to 2-a-days. If you haven't noticed, 2 videos a day because, it's the dying months of Madden. And, we get to try to keep the lights on here. We'll get you with that double hit of content. And today's no different. And we are going to be reacting and giving you my opinion on Carson Wentz's brand new 4-year, $128 million extension, which includes $107 million of that guaranteed. I had a couple tweets last night on Twitter, but I haven't really dived into how I feel about this, generally speaking. The positives. I mean, there's plenty of positives. There's no negatives. I don't really see. They got it in before Dak Prescott and Jared Goff got their contracts and set the market, which is smart. That alone, because Dak and Goff probably going to get their contracts sooner than later. That probably saved them a couple $1 million against the cap, here or there, maybe a couple $1 million guaranteed on top of that. You also have Cam Newton, who might be getting a new contract sooner than later, as soon as they probably verify that surgery that he had was a success and he looks better than ever. They got it in before the new CBA. Roger Goodell and those guys want the new CBA before September. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I hope it does, because literally I have no idea what my channel is going to do if the NFL goes into a lockout, which is kind of ridiculous. But before that new CBA, there's probably a chance, as usual, historically, when a new CBA comes in, contracts go up as well. There could be more salary cap, more stuff like that, more guarantees. So again, from that high IQ play from Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman continuing to show why he is one of, if not the best general manager in NFL. And why wait? That's another thing when it comes to this contract. We're like, why now? Why not just let Carson Wentz play out the year, prove he can be healthy, and then give him the contract extension? Well, if he plays really well, like all reports indicate, OTAs, Philadelphia beat reporters, if his back was looking lingering or anything like that, they would be shitting all over Carson Wentz in the media because it's clickworthy. Everyone might be like, oh no, why'd we let go of Foles? Wentz is looking terrible. Oh, by all reports, Carson Wentz is having his best OTAs since he's been in the league. And I feel like everything with all the weapons we have around him, he has the most talent, arguably. I don't know. There's probably definitely going to be some Cowboy fans that go, Dallas Cowboys, let me get my jean shorts on, baby, and I'm going to defend the Cowboys till I die. But, arguably the Philadelphia Eagles have the most talent in the national NFC. Anyway, we'll say the NFC conference on the offensive side of the ball. Definitely in the division. So one could assume Carson Wentz is going to have a very stellar year, and that price is only going to go up. So get it in now. Get that gamble. Sure, there's a gamble. Carson Wentz needs to stay healthy, but get it in now. And that is the mantra of a good GM, is knowing when to make the right gambles and going. It's like that thing in the what do you call it, in Hangover. We're going down the staircase there, escalator, with all the numbers flying by your head. Like that is what Howie Roseman did when he went into this offseason looking at Carson Wentz. And he's like, you know what? We're going to make this deal now, because Carson Wentz is going to have a hell of a year. I don't know if he's going to get the MVP for him, but he's going to have a hell of a year. And this 4-year, $128 million with a new CBA, if that gets passed, if Dak or Goff's contract goes through, that could very well be 4 years, $158 million. That could go from $107 million guaranteed to $125 million guaranteed. So get it in now, set the market. I think that is the best way of thinking about this and getting it in early. Now, I think, and I've said this, a little bit of a hot take. I made a tweet. There's that thing going around, the copy pasta. Is that what they call it? Where everyone wanted to put down like the most underrated, most overrated, best player needs to prove it year things for their teams on Twitter. And for my most underrated on the Eagles, I said Carson Wentz to everyone else around the league. It just seems like there's far too many 16 games. Let me know when you play 16 game memes around the National Football League, and people are forgetting just how good he was in 2017. That's not like, when we're talking about Derek Carr, and that was like 3 years ago, or even Cam Newton. That was what? That feels like it was 6 years ago when they were in that MVP form. This is a guy that 2 years ago was the best player in the National Football League. He played with a broken back last season, and he still was better than half the quarterbacks of the National Football League. What was it, 18 touchdowns to 1 pick in the red zone? Ridiculous production. So the whole 16 game meme stuff, I know, generally speaking, 75% of the people that go, Carson, let me know when he plays 60, they're probably under the age. They probably can't legally drive a car. Okay, so that's why I don't really get worked up about a whole lot. Anyways, it is what it is. It's people that are true football fans understand just how good Carson Wentz truly is, and I feel like, fan base bias aside, he's going to remind everyone this year. That's kind of how I'm approaching this, is that if he stays healthy, clearly you can't be a fan or an outsider and say Carson Wentz is not needing to prove that he can play a 16-game season. But clearly, this year, I think he's going to remind a lot of people just how good he is and why he is worth this contract. 2017 MVP for him, I think, is going to come back. I'm not going to say he's going to win the MVP. What I will go on right now on a limb and say he's going to be regarded at the end of this season as top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if he's going to be the best in the division. Russell Wilson's very good. Aaron Rodgers is very good. Drew Brees is, up there in age a little bit, but still very good. There's a couple other here and there. But I think, generally speaking, once this year is done, Carson Wentz will be regarded as a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. That's probably my big claim for right now. But absolutely, the valid point, not the whole 16 games, is he needs to stay healthy. But I don't consider him injury prone. I feel like to be injury prone, it has to be nagging injuries. It has to be injuries that reoccur time and time again. Guys that have soft tissue injuries, guys that have there's players that continuously throughout their career 5-6 times will miss considerable amount of games with groin injuries, quad injuries, Achilles injuries, shoulder tears, something wrong with your rotator cuffs. I'm not saying he's injury prone, but Andrew Luck's injury, I'm terrified. I'd still be, for now, the foreseeable future, super worried. I love Andrew Luck as a quarterback, but that's the moneymaker. Anytime you have an injury with the moneymaker, I don't know. I'm a little bit timid when it comes to talking about the future of Andrew Luck, but I'm a big fan of him. But when you look at quarterbacks, RG3 was injury prone. Tore his knee, never fully recovered, knee injury, nagging every season. That's injury prone. When you look at Carson Wentz, he's had some freak injuries. You look back, North Dakota State, I can't remember, I think it was some elbow or something like that. And he came back because he's super tough. He's built like Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger could be considered injury prone. He's hurt all the time. It plays through the pain. Carson Wentz is that exact same style of player, which is a big positive. But Carson Wentz banged up for his final year at North Dakota State, came back, won a national championship. In his rookie season, had a rib injury in the preseason, but played a full 16 games, which a lot of people just, for whatever reason, want to ignore. 2017 was easily the NFL's MVP before he went down. And then Tom Brady pretty much got it by default because he was the best quarterback of a team that went to the playoffs. But the injury was an ACL, ACL, and it was a freak injury. He was diving into the end zone and got sandwiched between 2 players. Now, does Carson Wentz need to be a little bit smarter? Probably not take that hit when your team's already spanking Sean McVay and Jared Goff. Doug Peterson is easily a better head coach than Sean McVay, who's proven it time and time again. 2-0, let me remind you. You don't need to make those kind of plays, and Carson Wentz is going to grow and mature into a player like that. That's going to make those smarter decisions. But it was a freak ACL injury that I need to remind you, Carson Wentz went back in the next play and threw a 2-point conversion on a torn ACL. Again, going back to, if he even does continue to get banged up through his career, he's tough as nails, has a mentality to fight through it, which there is a lot of starting quarterbacks in this National Football League that wouldn't play through injury, that have a soft mentality, that have a business-first mentality about, I need to protect this paycheck versus laying it all the line for my team. Cam Newton. So, it's not injury prone. It's an ACL. ACL injuries happen all the time. They're freak injuries. And then last year, his back was in relation to the ACL. He was compensating because he came back way too early from the ACL injury, and his back was all banged up. And now, all reports is that everything's good as new. Not gonna lie, out of all this contract, all the injury stuff, him being really good, him being underrated, I am actually a little bit worried about the back. I was very, very adamant when J.J. Watt had the back injury. Back injuries are no joke. In your personal life, not knowing these super athletes in the NFL that have top-of-the-line medical care, but in your personal life, anyone you've ever met that had a bad back injury, they have that for the rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know one old man that I've ever worked with, or my dad or any of my uncles that ever hurt their back and been like, you know what, feels good as new this morning, boys. Just magically woke up, used some Dr. Ho's pain treatment, and I feel good as new. No, but in the NFL, it's different. They're a different breed. These guys are super athletes, superhumans. So I just truly don't buy the fact that, there's this segment of, he doesn't play 16 games. You think he's brittle? You think he doesn't drink enough milk? He's a calcium deficiency? No, he's had freak injuries, and they're not reoccurring. And until they come reoccurring, in my opinion, he is not injury prone. But that being said, he absolutely, now getting this money, gotta show your durability. Gotta play a full 16 games. But I personally also feel like on the swing of that, this brand new contract might help his play style. Now that he has this guaranteed money, maybe he will be a little bit smarter and say, you know what? Should I scramble for 5 yards and get popped by a safety or a linebacker, or should I just throw it away? Versus last year, or coming into this year, if he didn't have a new contract, saying, I got to make these plays, man. I got to show these guys on the franchise. I got to show these guys I'm going to be worth this new contract. I got to play for my contract out here every single Saturday, every single Sunday, every single Thursday, every single Monday, whatever day they're playing. I feel like having this contract gives you that financial security, that stability, that Carson Wentz can take that next step in his career and be more protective of his body and not, he's never not going to be a scrambling quarterback from time and time again. That's why he got drafted at North Dakota State. He can make unbelievable highlight reel plays in and outside of the pocket. That's always going to be there. But knowing when to do that, knowing the right time to do that is, knowing when you need to protect your body. These are all things that come with the financial security of having your money in place and growing as a NFL player, growing in your development as a leader, as a professional. And I think all those things are helping Carson Wentz. And I think that this big contract coming now is going to be more beneficial for him, altering his play style, not getting opening up opportunities for potential injuries versus a guy that is playing for that contract all next season. And I mean, ultimately, when you look at Carson Wentz, either we pay him or what do? You let him walk? You risk him becoming the next Drew Brees? I guarantee the Chargers right now would kill to have Drew Brees over Phillip Rivers. So basically, the Chargers, if you don't know what happened, Chargers had Drew Brees. They had a couple other QBs there. They let Drew Brees walk. He had a bad injury. Everyone thought he was going to go with Nick Saban to the Dolphins. Ended up going to the Saints. The rest is history. Going down as one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. I don't want that to happen with Carson Wentz. I don't want Carson Wentz to go to another team and he stays healthy and gets, a couple MVPs and a couple more Super Bowls. I do not want that risk to happen. Pay him, because why not? If not, someone else will. I don't want them to reap the rewards of Carson Wentz. Another debate could be, looking at Carson Wentz and his tier of quarterbacks, that next era. Russell Wilson, I'll tell you right now, is he's on the edge going towards the older generation. He's 4 years older than Carson Wentz, so hypothetically speaking, when Russell Wilson retires, Carson Wentz will still have a new contract worth of career left. But when you look at that next generation, once the Rivers, Roethlisberger, Brady, Breeze, all these older guys that are, 33, 34 and plus retire, who is that next generation that's going to carry the torch of being the franchise quarterbacks? And you have Carson Wentz, Andrew Luck, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then we'll include two rookies that look really good. Rookie-ish, because sophomore season, but he technically, I guess, is first year as a starter. Patty Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. If you're ranking those guys, where's Carson Wentz is at the top of that list? He might not be one. I personally think he's 2 or 3. He's top 3. You can probably put Mahomes after one strong year. I mean, that is 50 touchdowns. You have Andrew Luck, who's had a couple more good years than Carson Wentz. But I think statistically speaking, in terms of talent, they're, shoulder to shoulder in terms of who is the better player. But he's right there. So giving him this money, when you see those lesser QBs on that list going to be getting more money, it's got to look smart in retrospect. So, like I said, man, ultimately for Carson Wentz, I can sit here and tell you how good he's going to be because I'm a biased Eagle fan. But ultimately, I just feel it's my bold prediction. I've had some pretty good bold predictions for the last couple of years. By the end of the season, he's going to be regarded as a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. And where to go for the Philadelphia Eagles? Hey, pay Malcolm Jenkins and let's get ready for the season. That's all I can say. So thank you guys for watching the video. There's going to be more Eagles content coming as soon as we get closer to the season. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know what you feel about this Carson Wentz contract in the comment section below. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.